I'm live. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this as a rerun, if you're watching this as a rerun, you can skip ahead about the 25 minutes. I'm getting on here early just to let the radio stations know that I'm back and I'm alive. Okay, kidney stones will not take me down just yet. I did for 1 week, and there's no doubt about that. So there you go. Hopefully everything is going well in the cyber world for y'all. Oh, let's see. Morning, Waylon. Morning, Scott. Mr. Farm Talk himself. Oh, shit. Yeah. So, kidney stones at like 2 o'clock last Saturday morning wasn't a good thing, folks. I'll tell you that. Still suffering a little bit. I still got, I had one in my left kidney, two in my right kidney. I still got, I think, two in my right kidney. I can still feel them pretty badly, but I think the one in my left kidney was the one that was really killing me. But riding yesterday, uh, shook a few things loose, I think. There's no doubt. Oh, 777 Buffalo Ranch. Well, it'll be interesting to see if this is the same dude. It will be. Well, what else is going on in the life of world of technology of YouTube here? Waylon, you want to bring your kid down to get some branding experience? June 2nd. Scott, you too. Come up and do your updates. Your farm talk updates up here at this place. We're doing ivermectin straight and narrow from here on out, I guess. It's supposed to be better for you. Oh, that's nasty. Holy balls. That's terrible, Jesse. Ugh. I'm gonna have to find something to mix that with. Oh my god, that's terrible. Holy cow. Kudos, Jesse, for taking that straight in your mouth. I will never underestimate you what you can take straight into your mouth from this point on. What the hell? Oh, oh my god, that's terrible. I ain't kidding you. Made my nose water. Good grief. That is yeah, I'll be right back with y'all. I gotta wash that taste out of my mouth somehow. That is nasty. Oh, holy balls. Learned that mistake there. Holy cow. Back in the day, my dad used to give me a he used to put some LA 200 in some orange juice when we were sick as kids. Now it's pretty bitter, it's pretty nasty, but it was nothing like that. Mad Dog. All right. Mad Dog. Whew. Yeah. Now I got to compose myself to be able to try to be professional with the guy out of Rapid City there, Mr. Cox. I know what Mad Dog 2020 is. I know. Unfortunately, I do. How do they say that? Tell me what era you went to or what era you grew up in without telling me what era you grew up in. Well, that doesn't really work because I think where I grew up, we were like 10 years behind on everything. I at least I wouldn't you say, I mean, Waylon, I mean, seriously, I mean, we could say we know what TJ Swan is, we know what Morgan David is, we know all this, Colt 40s, and we know what all this stuff is, right? But that's because that's what our family did, for so many years. It's what we had at Thanksgiving. My folks are still alive to this day. I guarantee if they had Thanksgiving, they'd have TJ Swan or Morgan David wine on there. Yeah. So, I mean, I say, we didn't really listen to the 80s type of music, in the 90s. It was such a sporadic type of music that we had listening to. So, Dave, good morning. Morning. Good to be back here. All right. I'm going to give my guy a call here. I'll see if we can get Colton lined out. I agree. Old school. TJ Swan had more than one flavor.
Good morning.
Colton Jones, Scott Bachmeyer.
Scott, how are we doing this morning?
I'm doing well. We are live on my pregame YouTube channels, just to let you know. So, folks, be listening and watching here as we get ready for the radio side of things.
Good deal.
So we're just talking on YouTube here before I start. We're discussing, I was discussing, some people say, tell me what era you were raised in without telling me the era you were raised in. I said, it really doesn't work for like where I grew up in because everything that we were like 10 years behind on everything we did where I grew up. And we were just talking to Gene Cox here is saying, I got to chase this ivermectin with some Mad Dog 2020. And I said, the funny part is I remember that. I remember TJ Swan at like Thanksgiving dinners. And I don't consider myself that old to be like a guy that drank TJ Swan back then here. Now we're talking about things in your growing up in your era that people would they remember or would they not? How about you?
When you said Mad Dog, I had to think of the beer Red Dog came to mind.
Red Dog. Remember that. What was that Colt? Was it Colt 40 or Colt 45? It wasn't Colt 45. What was it?
I think it was Colt 45, wasn't it?
I can't remember it because I remember the song from Crystal to Do was Colt 45.
It's weird how it's,
yeah. Can't remember.
Anything alcohol related is fuzzy, seems like already. You throw 20 years on top of that, you're reaching in the dark, more or less.
Wayne says, name all of the TJ Swan flavors. I didn't know that TJ Swan had multiple flavors of wine.
Well, I didn't either.
Yeah. He says they had about 6 flavors here.
I just remember like Boone's Farm wasn't
yeah.
Farm is it is a flavor. Boone's Farm is a flavor, and that's it.
I don't remember any flavored type stuff. We were lucky, when we were kids. We had just a quarter glass of wine. That was our celebration at like Thanksgiving. That was a big deal back then.
Yeah,
that was huge. Eric says, "Good down in Pier." Morning, Eric. Choke cherry wine. Oh yeah, I remember choke cherry wine.
Yeah,
I remember that. My mom used to make dandelion wine.
Yeah, I've heard that that's a possibility, but so is a hangover.
Anything would possibly have that.
The dandelion potion specifically, but maybe whoever was making it, I talked to wasn't doing it right. But I have do it with the dandelion, and boy, it's prime time for dandelions right now.
Oh boy, my yard is yellow right now, so I try to get them sprayed before branding season rolls around here. So, as Scott Bulgy says, it is Colt 45 beer. He says, "Yuck." I just remember seeing that. I don't even know if they still make it. They probably still do. People are probably just dumping Bud Light and going to Colt 45 right now. That's probably what they're doing.
They're doing bringing Colt 45 back.
What a way to bring it back, huh? Oh, how's things down Rapid for you guys today?
Oh, it's a beautiful day.
Yeah.
We're finally not choking on the wind, and things are green. And
you guys getting hit with this smoke from these Canadian wildfires like we are up here?
We're late last week, I guess, Thursday, before things switched around and started coming from the south. But yeah, you guys are kind of right out in your heart, isn't it?
Yeah, right now looking out the window here, you can see the smoke out. It's a little hazy out there, but man, earlier this week, it was just choking. I mean, just chokingly bad. You guys don't run the 777 ranch, do you?
No, they're south of us as a crow flies. Our family's ranch, they're maybe 30 miles as a crow flies.
30? Okay. Just curious because I see the regional bison conference is going to be held out at their place this year.
Yeah, they're pretty proactive in all things bison out there.
Are they? Good deal here. Yeah, near Hermosa. Okay.
What about you? How are you feeling? You narrowly escaped death.
Well, I tell you what, it was to a point where I wanted somebody to knock me out, and I had a little issue with the hospital I went to. I'll tell you that. I'm doing better. So I had 1 kidney stone in my left kidney and 2 in the right, is what the CT scan showed, and 3.7 millimeters is what they all were, roughly, is what they measured them at.
They let you keep those? They give you those back?
Well, they didn't do nothing.
On your desk there?
They didn't give me pain medication. They didn't give me nothing. And they said that once they took the CT scan, they said, well, we have to send it to Bismarck. We have to wait for Bismarck to read it. Well, it's already like 5 o'clock on Saturday morning at this point. And I'm texting all the radio stations like, hey, guys, I'm not going to make it, and there's no way I'm going to do this here. Stations will do a countdown here shortly. But anyway, I got up and I got a buddy that came up and picked me up out of the hospital there. And I just walked out. I couldn't take it anymore. They wouldn't give me any pain meds. And they all walked away. They wouldn't give me any information what was going on. So I came back home. Stations 70000 coming up. 7 o'clock straight up, 8 o'clock Central Time on mark. 6 minutes of showtime. So anyway, I came back home, fought through it on Saturday, Sunday. And I had a buddy of mine Saturday night. He brought over, when he had it, he brought over some pain pills and some Flomax pills that they gave him to help him out 5 years ago. And I took those. They didn't really work. And then on Monday, I called the hospital and they said, yeah, we got your scans back from Bismarck. And yeah, you have these 3.7 millimeter stones in your kidneys. But you should be able to pass them. They should be able to pass. So I had to drive back in and get updated medication. And I've been taking that all week, and I still can feel them in my right kidney really, really bad.
Oh, you're not even out of the woods yet.
Not out of the woods. And it just got to a point where I have to start doing something. I got chores to do. I got things to do. I got to get rolling. So I'm just keep moving and keep moving and keep moving. And every once in a while, I just got to stop and take a break and kind of deal with the pain a little bit and then keep going. Yesterday, the first time I got on the horse in a week and went out to a branding and the first roundup felt pretty good. The second one was a little bit, you could feel stuff was moving around. So hopefully I'm going to take my rough riding horse today, and I got another branding over in the other side of the county, and hopefully he can, that horse can shake him out. If anything can shake him out, that rough riding son of a gun will. So I'm going to give her another shot here. I need to get him broke down or get him pissed out or something. But yeah, they're still there in the right kidney anyway.
Get on the rough gated bugger and pick some bad boys up.
I'm telling you, if anything can do it, he would. everybody tells me, oh, it's because you didn't, he can't be that rough. He can't be that. And I'm like, here you go. And they come back and they're like, that's a rough riding horse. I'm like, I know it is. I told you. he's bomb proof in the roping though. I mean, you go in the pen, he can rope and he'll drag all day long and he'll do it his job, and he's not spooked very easy, but he is not a fun one to go start running out on. So
I'm at a point in my age where I'd rather beat my insides up and know that I'm not going to have fireworks happen in the middle of with a drop of the hat.
Well, there was fireworks yesterday. So I got a really nice smooth horse, and I was going to ride him all weekend long because I didn't have a chance to leg him up as much as I did this other horse. But yesterday, there's just a kid got a little temper tantrum and tried to lead his horse out, and the horse stirrup got caught on the panel, and the horse got spooked and took the panel and took the branding pot and everything. And of course, my horse is tied up on the other side of the branding pot over there, and he got spooked and ripped out of his head stall, and so I don't have a spare head stall for him. And so I'm like, well, so I guess I know which horse I'm going to take today. So we're going to go that route. Levi says that horse is like, he rode it last year. He said it's like riding a bike with square wheels. He rode it last year. He knows what I'm talking about. Good horse, just a little rough.
Yeah. Well, you can't have it all.
No. Oh, good stuff. All right. Let's see here. About a couple minutes here, 2.5 minutes to showtime. So where am I talking? Are you down at the ranch this morning? You're in Rapid, or where are you at?
I'm out at the ranch this morning, and my older of my two boys' birthdays today, so we're gonna do the birthday gig in Rapid later on this morning here, and so Mom's running around baking cakes, and the oldest kid's brother, I promised him we'd get some fishing in before we went into for his birthday party, so we're gonna go wet a line for the first time up at our backyard fishing hole here to see if the water's cleared up enough to get anything to bite.
Yeah.
But
your ranch is south of Rapid? How far again?
We're south and east of Rapid,
Southeast.
about 35. We're right south boundary of the private property on the ranch is the Cheyenne River, so we're right up on the.
Good deal.
Yeah, we're on kind of where Lower Spring Creek and Cheyenne River corridor come together. So there's good hunting, good wildlife, and.
So what would the town closest be?
Scenic. Let's see, Farmingdale. Folsom. None of those ringing a bell?
No. No, I'm searching it right now here. There's Farmingdale. Okay. I'm just kind of getting an idea here.
Yeah, we're right between Farmingdale and Scenic, south of the two on the river.
That's really nice ground.
Yeah.
Really nice ground. Okay. Yeah. Oh boy. I've been in
a lot of public land over here too.
Yeah. You know, we're having some issues with ours up here. I'll have to do that on our first break and tell you that story. We had some meth runners come through here, and we're surrounded with Forest Service land up in this area. Yeah. But we got 20 seconds of showtime here, so stand by. I'm going to go quiet here. Station's going quiet here for the last 15 seconds, starting out here shortly. Stand by. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a Saturday edition of Dakota Prairie Outdoors. Good to have you along. I'm Scott Bachmeyer. For the next hour, we get to talk outdoors and agricultural as we can. And not only that, but we're bringing it to you live on great radio stations like KGFX out of Pierre, South Dakota, KOLY, Mobridge, South Dakota, K-Fire 550, the voice in the Northern Plains, Bismarck, Mandan, and KCJB in Minot, along with the Western Edge, KLTC, and around the world on my YouTube channel. YouTube, thanks for tuning in each and every day. Appreciate that. You can find my channel at Dakota Prairie Outdoors Radio on YouTube. as each one of these are uploaded each and every Saturday. You can go back and watch them each and every time. And it's live. So if you want to call in and join in the conversation, you sure can. Questions, comments, concerns, 888-932-5682. That's your toll-free number. That's 888-9-DAKOTA. Good to have you along here this morning. And we're going to go into not only the hunting side of things, but also the agricultural side of things, the conservation side of things. And welcome from Wild Ideas Buffalo Company, Colton Jones. How you doing this morning, Colton?
I'm well. How you doing, Scott?
I'm well, man. I'm well. I apologize to all of my listeners across Radio Land and YouTube Land for last Saturday. A set of kidney stones set in. I had one in my left kidney, two in my right, according to the CT scan. So I apologize to all the listeners, stations, and sponsors out there for missing my show. But they hit me at 2:00 Saturday morning, and I was in the ER room until about 5:30. So I couldn't quite make it back for the show, and I wasn't feeling up for the show, and that happens sometimes. I don't know. I've had over, I think it's close to 5,800 shows now between my daily show and my Saturday show, and it's pretty rare that I miss one of them. So, it takes you out once in a while like that. So I appreciate you. I had you on for last weekend. You said you'd be able to do it this weekend. Thank you so much, and I apologize for not being able to do the show last weekend.
No worries. Appreciate you having me on, and I'm excited for the opportunity to hear a kidney stone pass on live air.
Oh, God. If it happens on live on air, I'm just going to turn my mic down, and you're going to have to take over the show for a while, okay? And,
Got it.
Oh, my Lord.
Just give us occasional play-by-play so we can experience it.
I don't wish this pain on anybody. The one of the nurses said, Scott, she said, they say that this is the closest to a guy will feel of what a woman goes through giving birth.
They say that, they do say that.
I don't know if that, they would probably know. If a woman ever had a kidney stone, she'd probably be like, yeah, this is pretty close to it. But if that's the case, I don't know why any guy would want to do that to your wife. I don't know why you would want to put them through that pain.
That speaks volumes, and that makes me hope that I never have to experience what you're about to embark upon.
Like I said before the show started, I have a branding today. Yesterday, I took my smooth horse. Today, I'm taking the rough riding horse out, and I'm going to try to shake him out. And if it happens at a branding, what better way? Because I know there's going to be penicillin. I know there's going to be antibiotics. I know there's going to be people with that know how to run a scalpel and how to take care of pain. I know there's going to be people that'll be able to deal with this. So that's what I'm hoping for. But anyway, let's move on here to what do we have going on here with Wild Idea Buffalo Company? Give us an idea here. What do you do? I see your website. I have it up here right now. Give us a little bit. What does Colton Jones do here?
Well, yeah, so I'll just give you a background on the company. Our founder, my father-in-law, started it about 25 years ago, and he had been ranching some Black Angus and decided to switch over to buffalo after he had been up and down the Rocky Mountain front. He was instrumental in the peregrine falcon reintroduction after there was a big DDT kill off. A lot of birds of prey were dying off from DDT. Peregrine falcons were one that were put on the endangered species list, and back then he was a falconer, and there wasn't even really such things as falcon. He was pretty big name in the raptor world, and so the game fish looked him up to help this reintroduction effort. And so he spent a handful of years running up and down the Rocky Mountain front. A lot of your listening area here up into the Montana, North Dakota, Badlands areas, and so he was an Ohio boy that fell in love with the Midwest, fell in love with the grasslands more specifically, and he just knew from that moment on he wanted to spend his life, and he knew if realistically you got to make a living, so decided to make a career out of putting buffalo back on grasslands to repiece an ecosystem together as a conservation effort. And so he knew there had to be some sort of economic value to the animals if they were going to continue to exist in these grassland ecosystems. And he didn't see a whole lot of sense in making the American bison conform to a domesticated practices, like we do with beef, just because they're engineered for it. They're a wild animal. And so that's where he kind of came up with the concept of the field harvest. And so what Wild Idea does is we go out to not only our own family's ranch that supplies about 25% of our annual meat demand through the company, but we go to other like-minded producers that are kind of using these bison as conservation efforts and also having a viable marketing product. And so we go with our mobile slaughter unit. We've got an 18-wheeler that goes from producer's location to producer's location, and we'll actually go and we have a sharpshooter that actually stuns the buffalo in the pasture from a pickup with either an ear hole shot or a forehead shot or a behind the ear shot. And once the animal's stunned down out in the pasture, he bleeds it out. And we use a hydrobed pickup to transport that animal back to our mobile slaughter unit, our 18-wheeler. And from there, we've got about a 3 or 4 man crew that bring that buffalo into the back of the trailer that's fully equipped with all the slaughtering tools one could possibly need in your commercial brick and mortar plants. And we just do it out there in the field. And, it's not the most streamlined process, but it's
one of the most humane processes, way of probably getting these buffalo down.
Yeah, it's
absolutely
for the animal. I've seen thousands of buffalo put down out in the pasture. I can tell you 90% of them have got a wad of cud in their mouth when they go down, and they have absolutely no idea, what's coming to them. And I mean, to speak to a lot of your listeners and their hunters, I'm a hunter myself. Our founder's a hunter. I think that there's obviously always a lot of overlap with conservation and hunting. And I think we can all agree that, you always have a better product when it's killed humanely and quickly. And that's how every single one of our animals go down. And so it's not exactly streamlined or the most efficient, but it is a way to learn. I mean, I like it because we get to lean on American culture's marksmanship, which is something that just doesn't get used. It's not utilized in an everyday workplace anymore. And I think we're unique in that we require a marksman in order to exist. And I kind of like that nostalgic part of it. But right now, talking with Gene and everybody, we're kind of looking for somebody to fill that void for us. And we're always looking to hire good people over at Wild Idea. And so listening to some of your past shows, and just wanted to talk about the overlap between conservation and hunting.
And Colton, we'll get to that here. We're against my first break here, so we'll get to that here right after this first break. Stay with me here. Colton Jones from Wild Idea Buffalo. You can check him out at wildideabuffalo.com. We'll be back right after these messages. Piper's Auction and Realty invite you to the next gun and equipment auctions. Go to pipers.com and check out Monday, May 22nd. It's a collectible and antique firearm auction. On Tuesday, May 23rd, it's the modern firearms auction. On Wednesday, May 24th, it's the Rusley Estate Equipment Auction out of Baker, Montana. And on Wednesday, May 31st, it's the 2023 Sioux Falls Construction and Transportation Auction out of Worthing, South Dakota. For more information and to find all of these items, go to pipers.com.
For over 80 years, Dakota Community Bank and Trust has been your locally owned hometown bank, an honor we take great pride in. And our customer satisfaction has always been our most important goal. We've gone along with the communities we serve and will continue to do so with our pledge of modern banking convenience with old-fashioned hometown service. From remote deposit options to online mortgage applications, we are happy to serve you wherever you are. Learn more at dakotacommunitybank.com. That's dakotacommunitybank.com.
MoPro Guide Service, the best on Lake Oahe. Brent and his staff will give you the most enjoyable fishing experience, always having the latest in electronics, gear, and the most comfortable Lund boat on the water. Fish with somebody who lives in Mobridge, South Dakota, the heart of Lake Oahe. If you need a place to stay, the Mo Rest Motel has newly updated rooms with free internet, a family-owned and operated business. Go to OaheWalleyes.com. That's OAHE Walleyes.com for the best fishing experience Lake Oahe has to offer. Rockin' 7W has all the panels you need. Freestanding panels, windbreak panels, feeder panels, and the original protester panel. If you don't know what that is, it's a sort panel that makes sorting calves from a cow a breeze. You can do it in a fraction of time with just one person on foot or horseback. You can custom order sizes to fit your current operation, or you can start from scratch. Rockin' 7W also does trailer repair on any size trailers, mobile welding, and custom cattle hauling. Call Justin at Rockin' 7W at 701-206-1030. That's 701-206-1030. Rockin' 7W, the farmer and rancher's go-to guy. Western Frontier Insurance. Agents that understand you, your needs, and the community. Whether you're looking for coverage on your farm, ranch, home, or auto, you can trust that Western Frontier Insurance will find you a combination of price and coverage that works for you. No fancy jingles, no talking boxes or animals, just good neighbors helping to keep you covered. Western Frontier Insurance. Offices in Hazen, Washburn, and Wilton. Pifer's Western team of Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby would like to invite you to sit down and talk about the future of land planning. Whether you're looking at selling, buying, or options to hand it down to the next generation, Andy and Jim will lay out all of the options for you. It's a great time to buy or sell, and with interest rates to make it profitable. Pifer's Western team, Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby. For more information or land updates, go to pifers.com.
Are you looking for a home loan? Dakota Community Bank and Trust makes it easy and convenient to find the best loan program and most current rates available. Whether you are shopping for a home for the first time or thinking about new construction or refinancing, we offer the assistance of an experienced mortgage officer, together with a convenient online or in-person application process. Let us walk alongside you to find that exact loan to meet your specific needs. Find your local home loan officer at dakotacommunitybank.com.
MoPro Guide Service, the best on Lake Oahe. Brent and his staff will give you the most enjoyable fishing experience, always having the latest in electronics, gear, and the most comfortable Lund boat on the water. Fish with somebody who lives in Mobridge, South Dakota, the heart of Lake Oahe. If you need a place to stay, the Motrest Motel has newly updated rooms with free internet, a family-owned and operated business. Go to OaheWalleyes.com. That's OAHE Walleyes.com for the best fishing experience Lake Oahe has to offer. Rockin' 7W has all the panels you need. Freestanding panels, windbreak panels, feeder panels, and the original protester panel. If you don't know what that is, it's a sort panel that makes sorting calves from a cow a breeze. You can do it in a fraction of time with just one person on foot or horseback. You can custom order sizes to fit your current operation, or you can start from scratch. Rockin' 7W also does trailer repair on any size trailers, mobile welding, and custom cattle hauling. Call Justin at Rockin' 7W at 701-206-1030. That's 701-206-1030. Rockin' 7W, the farmer and rancher's go-to guy.
On that road, but don't you worry, one day I'll settle down. And when that time comes, I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around.
Welcome back, everybody. Good to have you back on Dakota Prairie Outdoors Saturday edition. I'm Scott Bachmeyer here. Music right there from Benny Paulson and Breaking 8. Now, a shout out to Benny a couple weeks ago in Medora, North Dakota. He had a benefit for a person, and I'll tell you this right now. My wife, my mother-in-law went up there and says that it was just a great show that he puts on, like he always does. And I appreciate him letting me use his music to use on my radio program on YouTube, that with Benny's permission, by the way. So Colton Jones from Wild Idea Buffalo. You can see him on wildideabuffalo.com. And Colton, you were just, before we went into break, you were talking about sharpshooters and what you do. You go out, you 100% grass fed and taken on the prairie, buffalo meat, right? And this is what you guys do. You take the semi out there, and you said you also take the hydro bed. I have a hydro bed. I use it for everything. If and my neighbors, sometimes they got some hunters, they get an elk, they ask me for help because hydraulics over hernias any day. And it's just a great way to do it. But you're talking about sharpshooters and how you like to take these buffalo and take them very humanely, one shot. And you're looking for help. And I kind of cut you off right there. So go ahead and take it over.
Yeah. It's like I said, marksmanship's kind of a lost art in the farm of using it in everyday work, but this is work. And then we do every shot that we do on a buffalo. We've got a state inspector or a federal USDA inspector that's riding shotgun with our sharpshooter. And so they're the ones that make sure that we're doing it, one shot and drop type deal. But it's a job that requires somebody that's a good shot, and it's also kind of ideal if somebody's got a CDL, a Class A CDL. Those are kind of the two big requirements for a sharpshooter. But I understand the combination of the two is a bit of a special skill set. But we live in the Midwest here too, and was just always thinking it was a great overlap with your listening audience and your hunting crowd, and how conservation goes hand in hand with hunting as well. As that your listeners are the type of people that we're wanting to reach out to see if this is something they'd be interested in or might trip their trigger.
And if somebody's out there, and like you said, do you have to go through like a class to qualify as a sharpshooter? I mean, what qualifies somebody like that?
So we have an apprentice program that usually they're overseen by myself or our current sharpshooter, where it's usually like a month. Most of the time it ends up being like a month-long apprenticeship program. But that's part of our state plan. We have a humane harvest plan that the state or the Fed sign off on, and that apprenticeship is just part of it as a step towards becoming the marksman.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, you look at the Dakota Territory. Anybody that, and I don't know if it still holds true to this point, but I heard back in the day, if anybody was enlisting into the military side of things, they looked for people here from the Northern Plains as marksmen for the military because we're kind of used to shooting, I would say, a little bit longer range than most. And does that still hold true?
Seems to be. I mean, to me, I think that this specific area, you guys up there in the north, the Midwest, kind of the Great Plains area here, culturally, I feel like we've always kind of prided ourselves in top shelf hunters. And I think part of, a main characteristic of being somebody that can be proud of their hunting skills and their ethics is somebody that understands the importance of a clean shot. And I think that's just been ingrained in the culture in this area. And that's just how it's always been, through time.
Yeah. Now, is there a certain caliber that you are required to use, or what is the best way? What's the best caliber for a buffalo? I mean, because I'm looking at like Mayor Gene Cox, who is, he likes his black powder. So I mean, would a 32-30 marksman like him have a chance of getting on this team, or is somebody with a 28 Nosler going to have a better chance?
Well, Gene Cox is going to knock down whatever's thrown in front of him. That's just plain and simple. But no, we've used 30-06s in the past, custom load 30-06s in the past, but where we've really settled is we use a Barnes. No, I'm sorry, it's a Nosler 308 copper slug. I think it's Nosler's EXP. And then we've also been using Barnes rounds too in a 308 copper slug out of we've got Black Hills Ammo loading those up for us. 168 grainers.
A lot of people don't realize
those are the ones.
The South Dakota is very friendly when it comes to helping you out on this. Like whether it's a state, I'm sure the Game and Fish are supportive of what you do, and there's a ton of companies, ammunition companies and suppressor companies, just in around the North and South Dakota area that a person can really take advantage of. But you don't have to go to the Hornadays or the Winchesters or the Remingtons to have good quality ammunition and even gun builders just around our area.
Yeah, we went. We run a suppressor too. We found out that one less association with the buffalo herd. Because we're coming back to the same herd repetitively. Take two down in a shot and haul them back to the unit. But we've learned over the years, like I said, we've been doing this for 20 some odd years, that anytime you can eliminate an association in that herd, whether it's a sound association or some sort of visual association that corresponds to an animal going down, you can keep the disposition of that herd calmer just by eliminating as many associations as possible. And so the suppressor has been very instrumental in that. We got that from Lane Suppressors, just west of Rapid City. Good outfit, good folks, local outfit.
Yeah.
Really easy to work with. Great experience working with those guys. And we've got other suppressors from them since, and that's where I've sent everybody.
Yeah, Corey Johnston, one of the great guys, been on my show many times from Lane LLC, and a lot of the folks in this country have gone down there and contacted him. And what he needs to do, though, is open his own FFL in North Dakota, because we always have to have it shipped to an FFL dealer up here. And, that's the difference between crossing the border on that. But, yeah, Corey's a great guy. Been in his shop, and he showed me all his CNC machines. It's pretty impressive operation that he runs just outside of Rapid.
It is. Like I said, it's been a treat to be able to use those products, not on just a hunting level, but this is equipment that gets put through at an industrial volume. We're sending 3,000 rounds through a Remington in a year and doing it for work. So we need the consistency and precision to pull through every single time, because you got to the watchful eye of the state is with you, and everything's got to go right, and your equipment's got to function properly. And the local guys we've partnered up with have been great.
So somebody possibly, they want to go through the marksmanship program. They want to, you can always get your CDL. There's no doubt about that. How do they get in touch with you and they want to be part of this wild idea?
Anybody can always reach out to us on our website. Email us at info@wildideabuffalo.com. They can always email me. My email address is colton@wildideabuffalo.com. Or message us on Facebook. Our Facebook page is a good way to get a hold of us too. We're on Instagram, all your basics. But yeah, if that trips any of your listeners' triggers, I'd encourage them to get on there and reach out to us, or at the very least go and look at our website and check out our videos and see what we're about. And I found over the years that there's a lot that resonates with the Midwestern hunter and our company and what we're trying to accomplish out on the Great Plains and conserving what's left of its intactness.
Well, I tell you what, I want to, if you can, stay for the second half of the program. Another 20 minutes on the second side of the program, that'd be great, because there's a lot of this that correlates back and forth, and we're talking about suppressors and what it does for the buffalo herd. I'd like to get into what it does for, whether you use them on antelope, whitetail, mule deer, whatever you're using it for. I'm a big one. I'm a big predator hunter, so I use them on coyotes all the time. But can you stay with me for another 20, 25 minutes on the second side?
Love to.
All right. Appreciate it. Corey Johnston, stay with me here. We're up against our half-hour break here. Colton Jones. I'm talking about Lane LLC and got everybody mixed up here. Colton Jones with Wild Idea Buffalo. You can check him out online and keep it right here at Dakota Prairie Outdoors Radio. We'll be back for the second half of the program after these messages. Piper's Auction and Realty invite you to the next equipment auction. Go to pipers.com and check out Monday, May 22nd. It's a collectible and antique firearm auction. On Tuesday, May 23rd, it's the modern firearms auction. On Wednesday, May 24th, it's the Rusley Estate Equipment Auction out of Baker, Montana. And on Wednesday, May 31st, it's the 2023 Sioux Falls Construction and Transportation Auction out of Worthing, South Dakota. For more information and to find all of these items, go to pipers.com.
For over 80 years, Dakota Community Bank and Trust has been your locally owned hometown bank, an honor we take great pride in. And our customer satisfaction has always been our most important goal. We've gone along with the communities we serve and will continue to do so with our pledge of modern banking convenience with old-fashioned hometown service. From remote deposit options to online mortgage applications, we are happy to serve you wherever you are. Learn more at dakotacommunitybank.com. That's dakotacommunitybank.com.
MoPro Guide Service, the best on Lake Oahe. Brent and his staff will give you the most enjoyable fishing experience, always having the latest in electronics, gear, and the most comfortable Lund boat on the water. Fish with somebody who lives in Mobridge, South Dakota, the heart of Lake Oahe. If you need a place to stay, the Boat Rest Motel has newly updated rooms with free internet, a family-owned and operated business. Go to OaheWalleyes.com. That's OAHE Walleyes.com for the best fishing experience Lake Oahe has to offer. Rockin' 7W has all the panels you need. Freestanding panels, windbreak panels, feeder panels, and the original protester panel. If you don't know what that is, it's a sort panel that makes sorting calves from a cow a breeze. You can do it in a fraction of time with just one person on foot or horseback. You can custom order sizes to fit your current operation, or you can start from scratch. Rockin' 7W also does trailer repair on any size trailers, mobile welding, and custom cattle hauling. Call Justin at Rockin' 7W at 701-206-1030. That's 701-206-1030. Rockin' 7W, the farmer and rancher's go-to guy. Western Frontier Insurance. Agents that understand you, your needs, and the community. Whether you're looking for coverage on your farm, ranch, home, or auto, you can trust that Western Frontier Insurance will find you a combination of price and coverage that works for you. No fancy jingles, no talking boxes or animals, just good neighbors helping to keep you covered. Western Frontier Insurance. Offices in Hazen, Washburn, and Wilton. Pfeiffer's Western team of Andy Murdoch and Jim Savvy would like to invite you to sit down and talk about the future of land planning. Whether you're looking at selling, buying, or options to hand it down to the next generation, Andy and Jim will lay out all of the options for you. It's a great time to buy or sell, and with interest rates to make it profitable. Pfeiffer's Western team, Andy Murdoch and Jim Savvy. For more information or land updates, go to Pfeiffer's.com.
Are you looking for a home loan? Dakota Community Bank and Trust makes it easy and convenient to find the best loan program and most current rates available. Whether you are shopping for a home for the first time or thinking about new construction or refinancing, we offer the assistance of an experienced mortgage officer, together with a convenient online or in-person application process. Let us walk alongside you to find the exact loan to meet your specific needs. Find your local home loan officer at dakotacommunitybank.com.
MoPro Guide Service, the best on Lake Oahe. Brent and his staff will give you the most enjoyable fishing experience, always having the latest in electronics, gear, and the most comfortable Lund boat on the water. Fish with somebody who lives in Mobridge, South Dakota, the heart of Lake Oahe. If you need a place to stay, the Boat Rest Motel has newly updated rooms with free internet, a family-owned and operated business. Go to OaheWalleyes.com. That's OAHE Walleyes.com for the best fishing experience Lake Oahe has to offer. Rockin' 7W has all the panels you need. Freestanding panels, windbreak panels, feeder panels, and the original protester panel. If you don't know what that is, it's a sort panel that makes sorting calves from a cow a breeze. You can do it in a fraction of time with just one person on foot or horseback. You can custom order sizes to fit your current operation, or you can start from scratch. Rockin' 7W also does trailer repair on any size trailers, mobile welding, and custom cattle hauling. Call Justin at Rockin' 7W at 701-206-1030. That's 701-206-1030. Rockin' 7W, the farmer and rancher's go-to guy.
Don't you worry, one day I'll settle down. When that time comes, I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Dakota Prairie Outdoors Saturday edition here across the Dakota Territory on stations like KGFX out of Pierce, South Dakota, KOLY in Mobridge, KFI 550 Bismarck, Mandan, KLTC in Dickinson, and KCJB in Minot. Good to have you guys along with us this morning here. Colton Jones from Wild Idea Buffalo. You can see their website, wildideabuffalo.com. And Colton, appreciate you staying with the second half of the program because we got questions. I got, besides the text says, what caliber did you use? We already covered that. And we also got I got some more information at the end for some tree planting that Ron Ness is sending me. There's a lot of incentives out there. We were talking during the break off air. There's a lot of incentives out there from different organizations, but you kind of got to watch which organization is supporting and funding this, because there's a lot of organizations that are against hunting and against the agricultural side of things, and they're trying to pit the hunters against the egg guys, and that's not what we need. We need us to work together on this, don't we?
Yeah, I think that land stewards have to act in unity in order to preserve anything, and that is such a vital resource and spans such great ranges. the boots on the ground have to work in unison and kind of be on the same page, and just hit on what you were going with there, Scott. You got to educate yourself in the organizations that are the playing ball, so to speak.
Yeah. I just got a text from Ron Ness from the North Dakota Petroleum Council. The Petroleum Foundation, they're planting for the future program, and they're starting this weekend. They're planting over 70,000 trees in the next few weeks from Williston to Jamestown down to the South Dakota border. In 4 years, they have planted over 300,000 trees for any North Dakota. It's actual landowners. That doesn't go on to the public land. Through the partnership with the Outdoor Heritage Fund, they have 4 tree planters running on projects, and it's just amazing that you get some of these other organizations like the Petroleum Council, because I mean, you guys know as well as anybody else what the oil industry did to a lot of Western North Dakota. And everybody's worried about the landscape. Everybody's worried about that. Well, here's an organization that 300,000 trees in the last 4 years already. And so that's the kind of things we need to partner with right there.
Yeah, and like you mentioned off air too, I think we're always learning, right? We're always going to be learning. We can never sit stagnant in our practices, or we can never sit stagnant in furthering our education and land stewardship. And the trees there is a prime example of progress. And those types of collaboration needed. We should welcome those from every corner and walk of life. Everybody should welcome that progress with open arms instead of taking the divisive route.
Yeah. Well, you and I were discussing off air too about different biologists may come up with different things. When you talk to some Forest Service biologists, they will discuss one thing, and then you talk to a biologist that's hired somewhere else, and they'll have a completely different take on things. But one thing that they agree on, for the most part, is we need these hooved animals out on the prairie, on the grasslands, North and South Dakota. We need these. It helps the soil, it helps the grasses, it helps spread things around, but we also need to rotate these. And, we were discussing the buffalo, back in the day, the Native Americans, I mean, they actually kind of rotated the grazing on these buffalo. A lot of people thought that they chased them and just followed them, but I was reading in I think it was the Custer records, how the Native Americans actually kind of pushed them and they rotated the grazing a little bit. Do you have anything to share about that history on that?
Well, I mean, and that was one of the purposes of Dan switching over to the buffalo was to try to mimic that, that big migration of large herbivores across the Great Plains. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to deny that the landscape needs large herbivores in order to kind of accomplish its balance. But we can't. There's these people that go too far with it and say we need to put things back exactly the way they were in order to fix everything. Well, you can't. We're here. You get it. So, we're not obviously going to put millions of buffalo back on the Great Plains landscape, but what we can do is we can use the beef counterparts and some of the conservation bison herds, and we can still try to duplicate or mimic that grazing pattern by rotational grazing, like you mentioned, Scott. I mean, this landscape's just evolved to have that large landscape herbivore moving across it.
Absolutely. Rotation is the best thing. We do a twice over rotation in a lot of our places here up in this area, and it definitely helps. It helps everything. Now, let's tie this in. You're using suppressors when you go out and to harvest some of your buffalo. I'm a big suppressor supporter. All right, whether it's hunting or anything. When the first time I shot a deer using a suppressor, I dropped one of the cull bucks. I mean, it was just an ugly one that needed to be dropped out of that group, and the rest of them continued to graze, and it didn't disrupt their pattern at all. I'm a big supporter of it, and there's a lot of people that say that they call them silencers, right? And why don't people? Why are we still having to pay a tax stamp and get all the paperwork done on these when it's not really a firearm I mean, well, what's the big worry about that in America right now? I mean, it's still taking 10 months to get these suppressors turned around, even on the
I think
electronic side.
just with majority of the rest of the problems of the world, it just got political.
Yeah.
I mean, to us, it's a tool. It's not any different than a torque wrench to a mechanic for us. So just all politics aside, it's a useful tool in the firearm world. We use firearms as a tool on an everyday basis at Wild Idea. So to us, it's just an extension of our tool. And unfortunately, it's been politicized, much to the demise of many of the problems of today.
Yeah. So take us through the processing of a buffalo. You bring it back to the semi, and I mean, from start to finish. I mean, is it packed, vacuum sealed, and then where does it go from there? Because I want to talk about, you're very big on the coasts. I mean, a lot of people are buying this protein source, and they realize the need for this protein source. Take us through from when it gets to the semi to the consumer out in Seattle.
Yeah, so I mean, most of the animals that we take down they reside in a herd of several hundred other animals, and we might be harvesting out of a 1,000 acre pasture that day. And our sharpshooter takes the shot. It's one shot. He bleeds them out in the pasture. We pick them up at the hydrobed. We transport them to the 18-wheeler. The skinners winch in the buffalo into the back of the unit with the hide on and everything. And then from that point, it's skinned, it's viscerated, it's hoisted up with a gambrel and put onto a rail system where it's split in half, and then it'll go into final inspection. Like I said, we've got an inspector on site at all times during the slaughter process. And it'll get a state stamp or a federal stamp, and at that point it's wheeled into our reefer cooler, which is on the back half of our mobile unit. We can fit about 40 carcasses per load, and so that's what we'll go do in about a 3-day period. We'll harvest about 40 buffalo in 3 days out from the pasture, and once they're on the reefer, they go to wherever the ranch is at. Like I said, they range from ranches across the Sandhills to the northwest corner of Montana. We've been up to Turtle Mountain in North Dakota up there before. We've been in McLaughlin before. We've been all over doing this. And so once we leave the ranch that we're working on, we'll haul those carcasses back to Rapid City, where we've got another rail system. So we'll just load those carcasses from rail to rail into our brick and mortar plant where they're fabbed out. They will be broken down into, steaks. We've got a further processing department where we do our brats, our snack sticks, which is probably one of our number one sellers. Roast, grind, anything you can think of. We make it there out of buffalo at the plant. We're vertically integrated, so we do everything from raising the animal to slaughtering the animal to fabbing the animal out. We have our own sales department. We've got a fulfillment center where we'll actually get online retail orders in. Our direct to consumers are probably our highest retail volume for the company. That's where we get most of our business. And like you had mentioned, Scott, a lot of it comes from the coastal areas. And I think just to touch on that, I think you're seeing a lot of health conscious practices trending over there on the coastal areas. And our particular, we've done a nutritional panel on our buffalo before, and they're a leaner red meat, and that's what some people prefer. Some people that reach out to us do it strictly for the conservation purposes, and what our mission and philosophy is on doing what we think is right and conserving a portion of the Great Plains grasslands. So it's kind of a mixed bag on what we get for customers, but that in a nutshell is the operation.
That's phenomenal. And just a text message came in and said, have you ever come across any of the buffalo wearing some biker's pants?
Not yet.
Can you remember that? Was that a couple years ago?
Yeah.
One lady was during the rally or whatever, she was trying to take picture of some buffalo and got her pants ripped off.
Yeah, they're usually sleeping pretty hard after we take their picture, and so they don't get a chance to get our pants off, fortunately.
So we have mutual friends that you've been to their ranches. We discussed this last week, and how is it for the Buffalo Rancher? How did they get paid out of this deal?
They get paid on a per hot hanging weight pound.
Okay.
So when we go to the producer's property and say we knock an animal down, when we get the halves up on our rail system in the mobile unit, we'll have a digital readout suspension scale that will tell us what each half of that animal's carcass weighs. And we'll use that carcass weight, what we call a hot hanging carcass weight. We'll apply that poundage on a per dollar format. And that's, we'll keep track of all those carcasses throughout the day, and that's what the producer's paid on at the end of the day.
Interesting. Do you ever see this, your idea going into the beef side?
It's already pretty big on the beef side over in the EU. Yeah, they do it across the pond. They've been doing it for quite a while. And I just had a professor out of Oregon reach out to me last week, actually. They're trying to get a curriculum going up there at one of the community colleges that focuses on mobile harvest units for pork, for beef. It's really good for a producer because it takes out all the middlemen. It's also a good way to just add diversification to your ranch marketing avenues. So there's a lot of good that can come out of the field harvest. And I'm not standing on a soapbox saying it's the only way to do it. It's just another way.
Right.
And,
exactly.
Diversification is never a bad thing. And I think that's something that the ag industry needs. I mean, especially when you go back to talking about land stewards, they're the people out there taking care of the land are the ones that know the most about it.
Exactly.
And, diversification for the landowner or the stockman or whoever it is, for farmers it's a good thing. And just keep the guy from putting all of his eggs in one basket.
The reason I say this is because you see a lot of people looking at grass-fed, and that's a big marketing thing right now is grass-fed beef. And, it's not really grass-fed if you bring your steers in and you in the corral and you keep them there a couple of days, you're going to feed them something, right?
Right.
So it's not technically all grass-fed. I mean, they are to a point, but going out with the mobile units and doing it that way, I just kind of sparked an interest because there's a lot of these, especially during COVID, you've seen a lot of these ranchers out there, whether beef or bison, that started their own local meat, buy from this place, buy from me, right? And they started their websites and they're selling this right there. And just thought maybe it might be another avenue that somebody could look into. Granted, it might take a little bit more input, having to get a reefer trailer and, the equipment and the know-how and the state inspections and everything to do that. So it's just kind of interesting that way. But other than that, your kids into fishing. I seen on your website here. And how's the fishing in South Dakota right now?
Well, it just got a lot better here a couple weeks ago.
Good.
When finally started getting some runoff and some rain. And, I think we were down to 25% on our stock, on what we had for water in stock dams, and the ones that had water were pretty low. And we had a couple that were hanging on by a thread, some of our good fishing holes here. And this most recent moisture's brought some of our dams up, 5-6 feet. And so we're going to be good to go here for a little while. We're just anxiously waiting for the water to clear up so we can go get with it. This might be the first time we've been out, if we get to it, since the ice has been off, sadly.
Yeah, it's been a long winter, hasn't it? Just
long winter.
This seemed like it wouldn't give up, man. And it just kept pounding us all through a little reprieve in January. Granted, you down there in the Black Hills, you have a little different weather pattern, and so do we in the corner of this part of the state of North Dakota. We're definitely a different weather pattern than the rest of the eastern side, but it seems like the Black Hills, you guys get 6 inches of snow one day, and most of it's melted in a couple days. It's just crazy how it is down that way.
Yeah, it is, and we got a bit of it, especially in the season transition. You just don't know what you're going to get. To be honest with you, I quit looking at my weather app on my phone a few weeks ago because everybody's right at 50%, right?
Yeah. Oh, text message came in, says if I want to order some buffalo, can I go to your website and order it straight from there and deliver to my place?
You absolutely can, okay. And it will show up. We do fresh orders. We do special fresh orders. Otherwise, we ship everything frozen with dry ice, and it'll show up on your doorstep frozen.
How's the buffalo market been? I know the bison go up and down quite a bit. I mean, the market really fluctuates. And, you've seen a lot of people, they get into the buffalo game, they get out of it. It just depends on where it is. It's always been a very volatile market. How has it been in the last few years after this COVID scare?
Been really good. And direct to consumer was a strong suit for us during COVID. It was just something when people were staying in, they were getting stuff shipped directly to the door. So, and I feel like, we kind of took on an upward trajectory there, and about the tail end of COVID, we plateaued, and we've just kind of stayed there ever since. But the biggest thing in the buffalo world, and I think anybody else, has just been these guys will switch over to maybe just diversify what their potential market avenues were with buffalo. But then the Packers got backed up. So to your point of, you mentioned earlier about some of these local guys raising their own beef and coming up with their own label excites me. It's just there needs to be more infrastructure, more facilities in place for those guys to accommodate. And right now they're kind of subject to whatever the local lockers schedule is.
Are you telling me that the big four beef packers in the United States have control? Come on now.
So just going out on a limb, just an inkling I have.
What? No, I can't see that happening at all.
I like seeing butcher plants go up. We've seen some small ones go
up
around here, and I like it when they're out in the middle of nowhere and they're around the livestock, and it's good to see some of these. We went up and looked at a plant up in Hardin, Montana the other day. Kid and his dad, and big beef operation. He run like 7,000 pairs up there, and This kid, he's maybe mid-30s and full of piss and vinegar, and got his own meat plant up and off the ground, and he's got high standards for his production and his cleanliness of his facilities and the livestock's welfare. And it's just good to see somebody that is really taking that with care and pride. And I think that there's a stigma with the industry, the meat industry, and kids like him that are getting things up and running and taking some pride with it, are hopefully breaking that stigma. Because it's the other thing, Scott, is butchery it's a dying trade.
Yeah.
And so I think that's part of it, is just some of the stigma that goes with it. And it's hard, crappy work. Don't you know? I've seen thousands of buffalo in my life, but the way we do it, I've had so many producers and their kids, they come out for a harvest, but to see like that camaraderie of family be around the whole process, whether it's just the animal husbandry out in the pasture or even the slaughter process, to see that connectivity back to the meat production process again, I think we're fortunate up out here in the Midwest that it's just kind of normal everyday business, but to build that connectivity with the meat production process, I think is good for the consumer. It educates them in purchasing decisions.
Yeah. When the president of the North Dakota Farm Bureau just texted, the Packers don't control it, Scott. The consumers do. If they choose not to support local, when they choose to let their big packers control it. I guess that is true, too. You can see it that way. Well, as we get closer to the end of the show here, we got about 25, 30 seconds here for you. Give us more information, how people find you again.
Go to our website, wildladyabuffalo.com. Check us out on Facebook. That's it. That's the basics. Go check us out.
If you're interested in trying to get into sharpshooting, help them out a little bit, get on the website, get in contact with them. Colton Jones is my guest here. Colton, stay after I sign off here. Stay with me. I got a couple things I want to talk to you. So thank you for coming on the program. Check out my daily program. DakotaPrairieOutdoors.com is my website, and you can listen to it on each one of these great stations. Eat some meat, drink some milk. All right, stations, thank you guys for hanging with me. Appreciate it. YouTube as well. Colton, stay with me here a little bit longer. I'm going to sign off here, and we're going to get this off the air. And